Miami wins this game 34-10. Not nearly as competitive, even with all the injuries, I think, than a lot of people believed that it was going to be. Miami's top 5 graded players that we had in this one as the victors here in this game. Safety, Dante Trader Jr. at the top of the list with an 83.7. Linebacker Terrell Dodson with an 83.0. Wide receiver Jalen Waddle with an 81.3. Got in the end zone in this game. Center Aaron Brewer with a 76.3. Edge rusher Jalen Phillips a 75.2. And then Tua Tagovailoa an 82.6. On Atlanta's side, cornerback D. Alford was their top graded player with a 90.3. Linebacker Caden Ellis with a 76.8. Offensive guard Matthew Bergeron a 75.8. Offensive guard Chris Lindstrom with a 75.4. And the defensive tackle Sam Roberts a 75.3. Kirk Cousins in this game starting for Michael Penix Jr. Kirk Cousins got a 66.2. Is that the total story, Dalton?
I mean, straight up, you figured coming into this week that one of the biggest mismatches would be Atlanta and their great offensive line and Bijan Robinson being able to run the football on the Dolphins. And that was our biggest reasoning, really, for picking the Falcons to win this game. The Dolphins' run defense stepped up, 72.6 run defense grade, 17 carries, 45 yards for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Not great. No missed tackles, not a single missed tackle in run defense for the Dolphins, and only one explosive run allowed, and that was Nate Carter on the second to last play of the game when the game was basically already over. The Dolphins had the ball for 38 minutes in this game. It just came down to, and to me, watching this, not only were they physically better than they'd been in most, if not all, of the games they've played up front this year, but there was without Michael Penix and without Drake London, there was a serious lack of respect for what the Falcons were running out there. And it looked a lot like all of the Kirk Cousins starts last year, where it was, yeah, we're going to line up 8 in the box and we're going to be press man and we are going to dare you to throw it over our heads. And you're just not going to do it. So Cousins, look, a 66 grade. It's okay. It's not terrible for a guy now who's considered a backup, but also there was just no respect for the Falcons to be able to do anything vertically with Cousins in instead of Penix, and the difference from in arm strength is pretty stark. Because even with Penix kind of struggling at times this year, just the idea and the threat that Michael Penix could take you 60 yards on any play is a thing. Kirk Cousins is just not doing that anymore, and he didn't have Drake London. So the Dolphins on early downs especially just stacking the box. I mean, you're seeing 5-3 fronts, single high, press man coverage. They just, when the Miami Dolphins and their front seven, the way they've played this year, are not afraid of you, you've got an issue. They need Penix and London back in the worst way right now because of just the way that everything was structured. I would expect if Cousins were to play again, it would look a lot like this for an opposing defense again.
Yeah, it's just Kirk at this point in his career, and even when Kirk was playing well, like with the Vikings, his highest graded years, and I'll even say like some of the Washington years as well, he was very much a high IQ anticipation type of a thrower. He never had the best arm in the league, right? He was always going to be somebody who was sort of around average when it came to overall arm talent and velocity and things like that. But now that he is a little bit older, I think this game was a big time microscope on the fact that his arm is just not really starting caliber level. And there were moments in this game where they were able to move the ball down the field because he was anticipating things super well. But you could tell that when he was in trouble and when he needed to really step into passes and put some extra juice on it, the accuracy really started to fall away from him. And that's when things really started to unravel. And so unless it's working perfect, it's kind of funny that both Kirk Cousins and Tua Tagovailoa were in this game because both of these quarterbacks play the game very similarly. This was some of the fastest time to throw that you're going to see of any quarterbacks going up against each other. Both of these quarterbacks had a time to throw average below 2.5. Cousins was a 2.48. I can't remember what Tua's was, but I know it was less than 2.5. It's just that's sort of how both of these teams play offense. And for the Falcons, they didn't really have the weapons to make up for it. They certainly didn't have the run game that they wanted to lean on, and it just was not enough for them. Now, specifically, a trend that I just do not love from this Falcons team, and you talked about this earlier in the year, how you noticed, you were able to pick up on when the Falcons were running versus when they were passing, just because of what type of backfield set they were in. What was it? If they were under center, they were running the football.
Same for the most part with the pistol. Yeah.
And the same with the pistol. And if they were in shotgun,
93% pass or
they
something.
Were passing.
Yeah.
There's sort of more predictability in this game specifically. 3.1% play action percentage in this game of their offensive snaps. 3.1%. Now, they're using motion a lot. They're a team that uses motion in They're in the top 10 in the NFL, like total passing plays where they use motion, but they are dead last in the NFL, 15.3% with play action. So outside of pre-snap motion, the Falcons aren't really doing anything to get defenses off of their trail or even just put a little bit of hesitation in there. You talked about the formation set and how that's kind of giving it away. If there's no play action, then there's no sort of hesitation against the run. And you got Bijan Robinson.
Well, and the problem is that the tells are even worse when you already have a defense with a quarterback in Kirk Cousins that they just don't respect.
Well,
it gets even. It's been a problem all year. But
I'm talking about like even as a larger sample size for the season. Like we talked about this when we talked about the Falcons previously. You have Bijan Robinson. You should be running play action. Now I'm not going to say every play, but
a good amount.
You should be top 10 in the NFL play action percentage when you have a player like that in the backfield who is a threat at all times. The defense has to account for whether they're running the ball well or not. And I think that that's becoming an issue of this Falcons team is the predictability that they've had on the offensive side of the football. And this week, it was just multiplied by the fact that the Miami Dolphins did not respect Kirk Cousins and what he was able to do as a passer. I love the Dolphins' run defense in this game, specifically over the last couple of weeks. Zach Seiler, Jalen Phillips, Jordan Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and even Kenneth Grant. All of those guys are grading better over the last couple of weeks in run defense, where that was the most puzzling and frustrating part of the early evaluation for this team is we looked at this defensive line and we were like, how are you bad? How are you bad against the run? Like there's no way you should be as bad against the run as they were through the first 3-4 weeks of the season. And I think over the last 3 weeks, they've sort of gotten much more into the look of what we thought the Dolphins defense was going to be, especially from a run-stopping standpoint. So they're getting a lot better, and I think the rookies specifically, and Grant and Phillips, are getting a lot better as well. Falcons injuries was a big disappointing part for me. Obviously, not having Michael Penix in this junior, or not having Michael Penix Jr. in this game, not having Drake London in this game proved to be detrimental for them as well. So it just injuries from the Falcons, I think, really kept them from competing in this game the way they wanted to.
And a third one, Miami ran the football very well. Not having Divine Diablo at linebacker has been a problem for them. J.D. Bertrand trying to step in and play well, but I believe he was the Falcons' lowest graded defensive player in this game. They need Diablo back. And quick side thing, real quick, because we were talking about impact run blocking percentage before. Guess the three leaders: offensive tackle, guard, and center. Who are the three leaders right now? Two of them.
Wait, okay.
Tackle and guard are going to be kind of obvious.
Set it up again. What are we talking about?
Who are the leaders in individuals, impact run block percentage at tackle, at guard, at center? Tackle and guard are pretty obvious when you really think about
them. Guard's Quentin Nelson.
Yep. 26% Quentin Nelson.
Is tackle Trent Williams?
No. He's up there, but he's not first. Once you think of it, or one of us says it, you're going to be like, oh, yeah.
It's not going to be Tristan Wirfs.
Nope.
Who would it be?
Oh, you're going to hate yourself if you don't get the tackle one. This is going to be fun.
Just because this is bad podcasting, I don't want to think about it for too long, but who is it?
Penei Sewell.
Oh, obviously.
And
I'm mad at myself.
Center's a little trickier because it's not the obvious one you think it is.
Is it Bortolini?
No, that's a good guess, actually.
Yeah, because he's
been really good.
Nice.
The obvious one I would think of was Creed Humphrey, but he's second.
I was going to guess Linderbaum and then Humphrey would have been the next two.
First is actually a guy in this game we just talked about, Aaron Brewer, just ahead of Creed.
Really?
Just ahead of Creed Humphrey.
Wow.
Maybe the smallest center in the NFL.
Okay.
The smallest starting center in the NFL. He's got the highest, just ahead of about a half a point ahead of Creed Humphrey.
Nice.
Fun stuff. So Sewell and Nelson for sure. When you get an idea of those guys dominating on the ground, that's what you're talking about. Is Nelson at about 26%, Sewell at about, I think it was 23.5%. That's when you're getting into those elite marks up in there.
That's a good shout out. It's a very good shout out there. Anything else on this game before we move on?
All good.
All right, folks.